Hello, guys, and welcome to the Trish Lynn Show. Today we are talking about women in leadership. And as always, I'm excited for this conversation because I have some of my own opinions. So it'll be really interesting to share, and we'll bring Audrey on here. Flawlessly today so far. We had some issues on Wednesday, so I am so happy about this. What is happening? Cancel. I'm hitting buttons. There we go.
Hey,
Flawless today. On Wednesday, not so flawless.
how are you?
Good. How are
I'm
you?
good. Thanksgiving up here in Canada. Thanksgiving
Me
weekend.
too.
So,
Yep.
yay!
Where in Canada are
I'm
you?
in Toronto.
I'm an hour and a half east of Toronto.
Oh, whereabouts?
I just moved back to Coburg.
Oh,
Yeah.
I put an offer on a place in Coburg, so we must talk Coburg.
Yes, we can chat after for sure. I'm so excited for today's topic, women in leadership. I'm actually even more excited that you are so close to me. That is awesome. It's funny, the conversations that you don't have prior to the show, and then you learn things, you're like, oh my God, that literally just blows my mind. So yes, we will definitely have to chat after. Say hi to everyone, let them know who you are, what you do, and we can dive in.
So my name is Audrey Nesbitt, and I am a CEO and founder. I've been in emerging tech for the last 10 years. It started in Bitcoin and evolved into technology, other technology, blockchain, carbon credits, AI, quantum computing. I am a total tech geek. I love it. And I've worked with nonprofits that empower women in leadership. And I'm all about women, networking, mentoring, and all that fun stuff.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I wrote out one big question for our conversation today, and I would love to kick off the show with that question. Is, for you, what do you think makes a good leader?
So I think what makes a good leader is empowering other people to become leaders. So we can't do everything. And I know working with a lot of startups, especially in the early stages, a lot of founders, they've done everything by themselves and they want to control that. But to scale, they have to start letting it go, right? They have to start delegating. And when we want to find people that are like us, ambitious, resourceful, entrepreneurial, aggressive, right? Passionate, well, they're like us. So they want leadership, they want to grow, they want to do their own thing or become part of something bigger. They're not going to just be happy being low paid employees, right? So I would much rather surround myself with really strong people that are resourceful as opposed to trying to hold people back because I'm afraid of losing control. So number one, make leaders, right? Create leaders and know that if you're hiring the right people, they want greatness. So give them that and ask them, what tools do you need for me to help you become great? Because I want you to be better than me. I want you to be better than me. I want everybody here to be better than me. I don't want to keep doing, marketing. I'm just using that as,
Yeah.
I love marketing. I just want to use that as an example. It's like, as a CEO or founder, you should want to hire and empower people to be better than you. So I think that is number one. Number two, I would say, which I think is important, is you have to spend time with them. You can't just hire people and then, toss them the ball and go, okay, you, it is a process. I remember hearing from, I believe it was the gentleman in marketing who launched the Apple stores. And he said when he started working with Steve Jobs, actually, he pitched Steve Jobs and blew the pitch. Steve Jobs said, yeah, none of that. I'm not down with any of what you pitched. But he hired him. And Steve Jobs said it was because, you know, he liked him, etc. And Steve Jobs was like, every night I'm going to call you and we're going to sit on the phone for a certain amount of time. And that is, you know, his reasoning was, if I want you to think like me, you need to know me, right? If you need to, I need to know who you are and you need to know who I am if we're to grow together.
Exactly.
So I would say those are two things.
Yeah.
Or a whole bunch of things.
I agree with that 100%. So I have an assistant, and that was one big piece of bringing her on. I am here when she has questions, but for the most part, she knows my brand, she knows me, she knows my story. So what I'm creating, I don't have to be on top of her every step of the way, but I am here if she has something. And I handed my Facebook group over to her and said, you know what I'm looking for? Go do it. If you have questions, I'm here. But it's being able to guide, but not force. And like a big part of leadership for me is collaboration over competition. So I want everyone to see their success, and I want us to do it alongside each other.
No, 100%. It should be a journey for everybody. Hi, Pedro. It should be a journey for everybody. And if you treat people like low-level employees, then they're gonna treat your passion, your company as a job. And that's it.
I wanted to kind of dive into women in entrepreneurship as well, because more and more we are seeing women step into this entrepreneurship role, step into business for themselves. And I have my reason for why this is the path I am taking. But there's still so many male-dominated industries. And for me, so I was a stay-at-home mom for about 10 years. I don't remember when I left, but when I left my job, it was a male-dominated industry. I was management, but there was no room to go up from there.
Right.
I actually got pregnant and was bypassed for a leadership role, like a higher role within the company, because I was pregnant. So instead, the guy that I trained got that role. And from that moment, I'm like, there's no future for me here, because my opinion isn't valued. What I bring to the table isn't valued. Yet for Durham Region, I was the voice of their company for all of Durham Region. I was on the radio ads. I was recognized in the store when people would come in just from my voice and talking. So for me, that kind of, after being, stay-at-home mom, this is what makes sense for the family, I wasn't going back. I'm not going to go back to that.
Well, I think that's one of those, and I'm hoping it's changing, albeit slowly, is that belief that, there's two things, and that's that whole myth about women and pregnancy, right? But what they miss, and those people, and what they miss is that loyalty and how well someone will treat you if you're loyal. Like if I'm taking 6 months off or whatever to raise my child, then it's like, that's a extremely loyal employee who will work harder for you in the long run. I actually just read, you mentioned male dominance. And the sad thing is I actually just read an article where women tech companies get less funding than male tech companies, even if it is a female product. If it's a female-centric product, they do not get funded as much as if it's driven by a male. And I just thought, like, seriously, like in today's day and age, like, and I know when there's conferences where they have panels where they want women on a panel to talk about equity and women, and you kind of get like, well, I want to be on the panels with the men, and I don't want to keep talking. I don't want to just be on panels where we're talking about women and equality.
Exactly.
I want to be on the panels with the men. And aren't we past this? And why do we keep having this conversation? And then you read that article of how women tech founders aren't being funded, even if it's a female-driven product or a female-centric product. And it's like, oh, seriously, so we still do have to have these conversations.
It's sad that we have to have these conversations in this day. Like, look at where we're at, and so many women are forging this path forward, and we're stepping into entrepreneurship because of the bias that still exists inside of a lot of workplaces. And I mean, for me, that was over 10 years ago now.
Right.
I don't even want to actually count how many years ago that was, because then I'm going to feel really old all of a sudden. But women are stepping into leadership roles and into entrepreneurship as a way to forge our own path forward and create the change that we want to see in the world. You know, this isn't just here in Canada, this is globally. We're
Yep.
watching this happen all over the world because we've had enough. And if we can't do that underneath, you know, someone else within a company, then we're going to do that on our own, and we're doing it.
Yeah, I even, as of late, because everyone talks about Toronto and how progressive we are in Toronto and Canada, and we are, right? But it wasn't too long ago, I was hired in an executive position just so they could say they had a woman in a leadership role. Because beyond that, nobody listened to me. I wasn't part of anything. I was kind of like pushed off to the side. And there was still the bros club, and those were the people getting promoted. And it was like, I was just, hey, oh yeah, we can check that box. And
Or
it
just a box to be checked.
yeah.
So my opinion, and you guys can all take it or leave it, you can hate it, I don't care. For my opinion is women are meant to be leaders. We
Mhm.
are. Our thought process is more advanced, whether guys want to, sorry for all the guys watching, but our thought process is more advanced. Our ability to delegate and our ability to just all the moving pieces. We just, again, it's that thought process. We have that thought process to be able to plug in all the pieces where they need to go, when they need to go there, and think those, 10 steps ahead that men just 90%, I'm not going to say all men, don't have that ability to actually process.
Right.
But we still need men. They still they still need to be here because we are here to lead, but we need that masculine energy to still help do all of the things that need to be done.
So I don't I try not to talk in stereotypes, because I have worked with men that had feminine energy and vice versa. And they say the stereotype is that women have more emotional intelligence. And then because of our nurturing, our stereotypical nurturing role, and all the roles that we have to play, that we have the ability to delegate quicker and more efficiently. I don't know if that, like I said, I try to stay away from stereotypes because I have worked with some amazing male leaders, and my biggest mentors have been men. My biggest advocates for me and my career have been men. So, but I think it's going to come to balance, and it'll be nice to see at some point that it's the best person for the role, and that we're not having these conversations about checking boxes, and that at the end of the day, it will be whoever is the most qualified, as opposed to I want a buddy to go watch football with. And
well, if we still need the strong masculine energy, we need that.
Right, but there's some women that have that energy, and some men are like, you know what I mean? So that's why I try, because every time we say men are this way and women are this way, there's always exceptions to the rule. So
always.
I just I try to
why I said it's 90%
stereotypes.
I'm not putting all men in there. It's 90%.
Yeah.
But it's still, and I say this from my experience and things that I have witnessed personally. So based on that, that's where my opinion comes into play, right? And my perspective, based on what I've seen. There's little things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I've already planned out this, and this, and you're still planning out tomorrow. Like, I'm already 10 steps ahead on what is going on. But there are some men who are there, right? It's not all men. I wasn't putting them all in the same.
Oh, no. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
yeah,
I find it really hard, and I've noticed this as well, as strong women who are stepping into leadership roles, we're growing businesses, we're doing the things. I found a lot of men are still intimidated by that. And that has been an interesting, and I've watched it play out more so in the last, whenever I decided to start dating again. I don't know when that was. And that's when I started watching that play out, because, you know, you explain to someone what you do and what your business is, and I feel that vibe of they are intimidated by me. And that's something that needs to change as well, because we need to work alongside each other. We are here to grow together and bring each piece that we bring to the table.
Absolutely. Because yes, we're all in this together. That's how I see it. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But I think a lot of that is just time. And then what I mean by that is historically, what you're talking about in regards to the woman's role and the male role, and that is what I've seen growing up in a Western traditional family, was the man went to work and the man was able to just focus on his job because everything else fell to the mother or the woman or the whatever, right?
Yeah.
So everything from how to get the kids to school and how to feed everybody. So to me, that's just, been traditionally how we've been raised and what we do, which is why, because to me, to truly know who falls where, you'd have to raise kids where there's no, where there's no gender kind of roles given to kids at a young age. And there was a study done, which was really interesting, out of England, where they watched adults, adults of different ages and generations, play with children, and where they thought the child was a girl or the child was a boy. And then they asked them if they felt they were leaning them into one stereotype. Do you know what I mean by that? So if they were playing with a girl, did they stop her from playing with blocks and give her a doll? When they thought they were playing with a boy, did they do the same but reverse? Take the doll away and give them a truck or whatever. Yeah. And people would be like, no, I don't do that. And then they'd show them the video of, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah. You have a baby girl, you buy pink, you buy dollies, doll houses, and all that stuff. You have a boy. We don't buy little baby, we don't buy for girls building blocks, mechanic sets. And so that's what I mean. We need to change that. We need to change that, because there's a lot of great jobs for women in mechanics, electrical engineering, STEM, and all those.
Yeah, what's considered a male-dominated trade. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot, being on my own, I do a lot of things, and then I have a lot of conversations like, wait, you're doing what? Yeah. I'm on my own. I have no other choice to do it, or it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
I just moved. I had to put all new curtains up. So I had to hang up all new curtain rods. And I have an impact that I was calling a drill. And I asked my son to go get me the drill. He's like, what drill? I'm like, that. He's like, that's an impact. I'm like, well, my drill has been working for me for the last week. So that's what it's going to be called when I need it.
That's right. No, one of the things I really believe, and I think is kind of the beginning of leadership and empowerment for girls, is raising our girls to make their own money, have their own jobs, and not depend on a husband. So, and that gives them freedom, right? It's not saying never get married. It's not saying never be a mom, because I think those are all wonderful things.
Yeah.
It's control your money, make your own money, so you don't end up in a situation where you're dependent on something, or you're dependent on a relationship that's not good and healthy. That's step number one, is, get educated, find something you're passionate about, make your own money.
Yeah, that's my children are ultimately, my daughter was one of the reasons I made that final decision to leave my ex-husband, was I did not want her growing up thinking that the things that were happening were acceptable. There was financial abuse. It was held over me.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. I've shared this before. I left with my business bringing in zero income, but I knew I had a business. I knew I had things to implement to start seeing those results. But I did it because I was not going to have her think that this was acceptable.
Right.
And even my boys, you know, not wanting to think, or not wanting them to grow up thinking, you know, that was acceptable way to treat women, because we are all equal. And I'm watching my son now. My oldest has a girlfriend, and I love watching. So he's now working. He's 15. He's working. He has a girlfriend. But the respect that is coming out of him towards her, more, I mean, since I left, because they've only been together, I think, since July. I'm not sure, anyways. But she was sick a couple weeks ago, and he door dashed her Starbucks.
Aww.
Like, that is the sweetest thing, because your father would have never done that to me. So he's obviously learning that somewhere, and it made my heart, oh, it was such a nice thing to hear him say, because I want them to learn these things. She works, he works, so they're learning as they grow, but they're learning in a way that is together. They're not
Right. How can I help that person?
Yeah.
How can I help their life be easier? How can I get 100%?
Well, still, you know, he understands she gets to have her own life. She gets to do her own thing. And I think it's a great age to start letting him see those things. You know, he's seeing me do this on my own. So he's learning, hey, mom's not just a stay-at-home mom. We always have to have this conversation, because my business was always considered a hobby or nothing. It wasn't good enough. So now I'm like, I have to work. Just because I'm not working 9 to 5 in normal hours that your father had deemed acceptable, I still have to work. Now I can come in here and shut the door, which is perfect. But just having even that understanding in, you know, that respect for me of, we get to do things differently. It doesn't have to be what you're used to seeing, and we get to do it in a way that works good. And as long as we're being respectful to everyone else, that's what matters to me.
No, I think any job for your partner or your children is important, whether it's they're working at McDonald's or Starbucks, or they're the greeter at Walmart. It's their work. They should have pride in it, and you should have pride in them for doing that work, right? So
yeah, but those are like, that's, I guess for me, those beginning stages of them becoming the leaders. You know, we are raising the next generation that's coming into this world. And how are we doing that? What example are we setting for them is the biggest piece. So for me, they are seeing everything that I'm going through, everything that I've experienced. He was here last weekend on his dad's weekend to help me. There's some things I couldn't do. And I said, I can't do this. I need help. He's taller than me by quite a bit. I'm short and stronger. And I'm like, kid, I just need some help, please. So he's here to help me. But he's still seeing everything that I've accomplished on my own. And it's helping him not only have that respect for what women are capable of, which is a huge piece for me to instill on him, but then seeing that, hey, we do still need help sometimes, and we will ask for it.
Yep, and absolutely.
You get to step up and be that support.
No, absolutely. And it's that thing, you know, being, for me, raised traditionally, the hard thing is asking for help. Right? That's a hard thing, is asking for help.
Yep.
And I'm trying to learn that. Ask for help, ask for help, ask for help. Yeah.
I have a very hard time doing that. Very, very hard time. Because, you know, that was 10 years of my life. I was the stay-at-home mom. Yeah. My ex was the one who went to work. So that's the dynamic. And now, you know, asking for help. When I did ask for help, you know, when I was overwhelmed with the kids, I remember at one point I was just mentally, physically, and emotionally, like, just drained. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I told him that. And I had asked for that support. I didn't get it. So for me, asking for help is such a hard piece, because I'm so used to not getting it that I've just become accustomed to doing things on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I same. And then realizing that's, for me, it was like, yeah, you need those relationships where when you ask for help, they're more than happy to help you.
Yeah, that strong masculine energy that is there to support you in your feminine energy. And I think as you know, strong women who are moving into the leadership roles, that's still again, the men are intimidated, so it's still a missing piece of we get to do this together. We're not here to dominate over you. We are here to stand beside you and be that support together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see like the energy is not as we're trying to dominate. We're just trying to assert ourselves to be heard. So for me, it's not domination. It's like, I
No,
need to be heard. Hear me. I am capable. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So good for you. Because I agree that staying in bad relationships, thinking it's good for the kids is just not good for the kids because they inherit our fuckery.
Yeah,
They
that's
inherit our
it. That
fuckery.
is such a good word. That's it. And then you know, it's passing it on from generation to generation, and that was not something I was going to keep doing.
Yep. No, I agree. I'd rather be single.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? I love this conversation. It has been such a good one. I feel like we kind of went pretty deep in a
Yeah.
way that is really good.
I think just that is, the beginning of the change is teaching our daughters to earn their own money and make their own way and not depend on a husband. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just old outdated thinking that they need to be independent. It gives them freedom, right? Independence, earning your own money and owning that is your ticket to freedom. It's your ticket to freedom. And then from that, entrepreneurial skills and leadership, and we should recognize it and give accolades to those that are doing it and networking. And it's amazing. Like it's really incredible what's happening with women right now. I think it's wonderful that we're recognizing this and we're helping each other up instead of knocking each other down.
Exactly. Collaboration over competition any day.
Yeah.
Any day. When we come together, and the thing is, I've noticed, when we come together and we put our heads together as women leaders, the magic is just like so much bigger.
No, absolutely. I agree. This has been wonderful.
And
you're a neighbor.
Yes. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you for everyone who joined in to the Trish Lynn Show today. As always, if you have anything you want to add or anything you want to say about this conversation, drop it in the comments and I will leave your information in the caption for everyone to find you.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye.